Okay, and YouTube should be live as well. Let me pop out the chat. Oh yeah, so we were gonna do some of the cons to some stuff today. I need to figure out why some of this stuff from way back in the day when it came over from Unity didn't really get baked correctly. Some of it is, but yeah, I think we are gonna start with this. This fan's terrible. Hey, Johnson. It's going good, man. Sorry for missing the message there. Kind of in the zone. I was actually looking at your game a while back. I don't remember. I think it was for a YouTube thing I was looking for. I was looking for a shield effect or something. But yeah, I moved. Got a new house. Finally, this is day 3 of working full time on the game. I'm off for the whole summer, so I have 8 weeks to work on the game as my actual job. So it's been extremely good progress, pretty much. We're going to redo some assets, do a little bit of everything. Earlier today, I actually went and finished integrating this fighter into the game. Summer break again, and hopefully if I can get things to where I would like to be, Jotson, my goal is to try to get my Patreon to, and I will just do a little shout out. I want to get my Patreon up to about 400 USD. Oh, right, Cloudbot needs to be turned back on again. I got follow botted yesterday. It was really terrible. It was just nothing but spam. There was a random viewer who came in. It was like they were promoting something anyway, and we banned them. And then afterwards, there was like this immediate influx of follows by random, X74222 nonsense. So I ended up having to like emergency turn everything off, which kind of sucks. But I'll turn the bot back on again now. But I'll kind of give you there we go. It should be back up again. It's been going around, and I don't know what like that happened to me a few times in my history, and it's really annoying, right? Because like what'll normally happen is you'll have a nice organic growth, and then you'll get follow botted. And then what'll happen is, Twitch will start removing them as you're kind of gaining, organic followers. So there's this period of time now where you're not going to get any growth at all. You are getting growth, but it's kind of balancing out until you kind of, it starts continuing along the way again. So earlier today, because I've already kind of finished what I want to do for today, which is great. So now on stream I can kind of go a bit crazy and just work on stuff that I've been, wanting to do outside of my agenda. So this ship was supposed to be in, and for some reason, anyway, I went in and cleaned up all the assets on the main build, but systemically it's not in. So I went in and kind of like, re-added the interactable component system. Hey, Ghost Magic, I hope you're doing good. And actually got the interactable seats working. So now this version of the ship is actually working fine now. Because I wanted to, my idea, because I'm really trying to race this summer and get things into players' hands, even at the extent of implementations not necessarily being fully realized. Just kind of like get things done. But I realized it'd be quicker testing both the flight model and some of my systems if we focused on the single-seater, because I don't really have multi-crew to worry about, or like authority of different stations and whatnot. So I figured, if I can very quickly get a single-player ship, like a single-seater ship, into the build, and and maybe add some racing rings that they can kind of like fly through. It'd be kind of fun for multiplayer, and B, it'll be a really good way of honing that ship flight model, and give players an ability to kind of customize the ship kind of data, and kind of see what works best for them. All right, so that's kind of that was earlier, today. I got all this working and the ship configured. I gotta hook up the power system, and we gotta make sure we turn off the holo projector when we're out of the ship, and make sure obviously the cockpit closes once we're like in the ship. But it's it's been pretty straightforward day of coding. Yesterday we focused on creating this tractor beam system, and what's cool about it, you might appreciate these kind of hacks, is I made this and I slapped on that select shader for the time being, but what I've done is on my beam mesh, I've actually scaled it to 1 unit. So what this means is that this mesh is now exposable to LODs. So I have the dynamic LODs on the mesh that's going to be used. And as a Blender artist, I've kind of set this up to be 1 unit. So now on my scale, I can scale this whatever the real metric value would be, right? And that would be the true, right? If it's 5.2 meters away, it's 5.2, scale, because it's 1 unit. And I've added in Blender this little blend shape. And this blend shape is what, has a defined, maximum, which once again is actually being allotted, even though it's a blend shape. Even back here, I can kind of, it's, I can bring this down. Because I do want players from a very far distance to be able to see if someone's mining or if they're tractoring something in, or vice versa. But I'll just let me just finish my explanation here of what I'm doing with this and why. I don't know why it goes negative, but this thing I whipped up yesterday, and all it does is just attracts anything that's right in front of it that is a rigid body. It's meant to be pulling in all the loose cargo and stuff like that that's being pulled into the rock crusher version of the ship. And interestingly enough, this is actually, I think this can be a better approach, because I can build a shader depending on what angle we're looking at the mesh. This is not the shader. I've just added the same shader for selecting things. I can actually kind of create that UV, animation data, and then for the front, right, you would have like kind of like a black hole kind of Vonaroy kind of effect, right? So it's just a different perspective depending on what way you're looking at it. And I think that'll be a simpler approach than creating a billion particles. I will still add particles, I'm sure, just, so it kind of looks, better, but I wanted something a bit more stable. So that's what I've been working on with the our little tractor beam scene here, because that's going to be a part of the and let me give this a little showcase real quick. Right, so just in a very primitive fashion, this thing, wherever the ray cast hits, it dynamically stops. It has a maximum, and obviously we can kind of hone in and out, the influence. And if we, hit anything, you see it sucks it up, pulls it towards it. Right? Now, every now and then it hits something and it still becomes a target, and it's kind of interesting. Right, so this is, let's, here's my tractor beam. Right, pulling it into its tractor beam. And you can see, like, from a distance, it's still, yeah, I want it to be pretty visible at around 100 to 200 meters. Right, and that's why I don't like the the particle approach. So I'm hoping this ends up becoming a better solution. I'll need to keep working on it. So we've been I've been cleaning up assets, cleaning up stuff in Blender, getting everything going. Like when we were playing, right, with everything in Unity, right, like I had kind of gotten it to a point that people could just jump in and out whenever they want. We need to get back to that point. So a lot of like today has been organizing a lot of the project management, and really kind of prioritizing like what's like what I need to release and what I'd like to do, and I haven't figured out how to do it. I know on the project I created a Gantt. I've created a Gantt sheet, and I think what I want to do with this Gantt board is to try to break down. I haven't put the time in to kind of do this yet, but I want to break down the 8 weeks of sprints into like 2-week kind of like build schedules or whatnot. The only thing I really don't like is by default, I don't know why, completed items are still on the Gantt board. If I could do like a Gantt board that just hides completed items, this would make my life a little bit more complete when it comes to trying to schedule these tasks into, into epics of some sort. But anyway, that's kind of that's workflow stuff that I'm going to need to figure out over the next while. There's a lot of stuff here like, in design. I think there's a lot of nonsense that I really need to move. Yeah, this asset planning for like different, like this is more very theory crafting stuff, not necessarily a part of active development, but there's a lot of like kind of ideas here I want to keep, but I really don't want them to be a part of the board. Do you use much in the way of project management, Jotson? Oh yeah, let me give you a shout out as well. You guys should all be following Jotson. Jotson's awesome. Not really, just to-do list. Customize board options. Turn off stack fields because it sucks. Save. I could just archive it for the time being. You know what? Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll just archive the Planet Tech stuff. Okay, yeah. On Dome we use Myro. I've never heard of Myro. Okay, it reminds me of Figma. Virtual project management. Kanban framework. Connections and dependency mapping. See, that's what I need to actually get on the ClickUp side is dependency mapping. I know they work on a task dependency basis, but if I could like turn an epic into like a big dependency tree or something, that could be cool. I'd like to know like how far along I am towards a specific goal. But good old ChatGPT. Great if you know what you're doing. Let me try to close out of this. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna redo the comm system today, real quick. Get this kind of redone. This was never supposed to have like this weird bendable geometry nonsense. Anyway, this was a model originally that came from. I think it did come from an asset of some sorts. Like it was something that I had in my collection. I don't know if it came from Unity or where it came from, but. You know. But we're gonna clean it up a little bit. Oh, it's a little bit. If you put all tasks in a system like that and assign some points, you can estimate it roughly. Yeah, I, for the most part. But creating like the task list is a huge. Yeah, that's the issue. Like that alone is like killing my day, and I'm like, not really what I want it to be. We are never gonna see these from the side. They're just on upon me. Yeah, we're really not. Why does it keep doing that? Stop it. Why, yeah, why is the scale doing that? Right. Why is it? Why is this cube freaking out? Don't save. Hello, Blender. What are we doing here? What? I assume the game of this scale, you might have like 1,000 tasks left, so you need to do close like 10 tasks per day. Yeah. Why did this scale so weird? Damn you. Let me just check my autosave and recover. Yeah, there's this from when it was messed up. I don't know what this cube is and why it's an indefinite scale. Well, it's not even like hidden. No idea. Yeah. Weird. Whatever. Yeah, if we're not gonna see them, so we might actually see them though from the front. And they would look cool with light behind them. Whatever. They're just terrible quality. Any tips for a solo game dev who knows nothing? I'm a solo game dev who doesn't know too much. Don't focus a lot on tutorials. Tutorials probably won't help too much. You can do the fundamental tutorials. And also don't know what engine you're using, but let's say we are in, Godot, and we want to get started. I really do believe, like, if you, in the docs, there's a lot of getting started stuff here that's really fundamentally good. And there's a lot of example projects on the Godot repo that it has like little bits of everything, right? Setting up your game area. Like go through this, because this is tutorial-ish, but it's really good tutorial. And then, just so you can kind of get some character walking around, jumping around, doing something that you want, setting up your actions, all that kind of stuff. And then once you've kind of like decided upon, because you need to decide, are you going to be using C#? Are you going to use GD script? What language do you want to use? If you're going to be doing a bit more in development, maybe with other frameworks, or you want to do some web dev, if you want to do something else, if game dev doesn't cut it, you want to have a side hustle or something, building like APIs or something, C# could be good. But if you just want to go with something that's built in, doesn't have any dependencies, or you want to do web games, you get your GD script. But go through this process first, because you'll find, you'll make better, you'll move forward quicker when you're trying to solve your own problems than you will taking a tutorial and following it through, and then trying to figure out, how do I take that knowledge and do something with it. Like if you're trying to shoot a gun, you know what I mean? Like, your character has a gun, and FPS gameplay is going to be a thing. So find tutorials based upon the type of game that you want to create. So that, like, don't go down tutorial hell, and don't just keep learning things for the sake of learning things. Learn things that help you solve, the small problem, in the game that you're trying to create, and keep the scope of that game very basic. I just want to, get a basic platformer going, get some CSG messages, jump around, enter an area, I won, awesome. Very small things. And then you can work your way up. Now, then working your way up, the best thing about the Godot docs is, everything that you could imagine is in the docs. So if you want, like, as you're kind of looking through the properties of what each node can do, the best thing in the world is just looking at, the actual documentation and seeing what the properties of that node are and how they work, right? What did these things do? It's all right here, right? It's all in documentation. So you can very quickly, in your own code, right, when we're looking at stuff, and we want to know what certain things do, you can just shift click on them, you know what I mean, and see what the base class does, see what the methods are. There's a lot of stuff is like, if an animation player, what does an animation player do? What methods does it have? Little things like that. 1 second. What's up?
Call you now.
What?
Call you now.
When?
Yeah.
What was that?
I don't know. She said it's important. So probably by your ankle.
Oh, okay. I'll call her a bit.
Yeah.
Platinum Fox, how's it going? So that's like that's what because I think you'll either probably like jump in there wild and start trying to create things, and especially if you can get if once you have access to very highly detailed tutorials. I mean, you can download a fully rigged out character that has really good graphics, or import something in from Unity and start throwing in some code on top of it. Do you recommend GD script? I have Visual Studio Code. I'm not sure how to set it up. For Visual Studio Code itself, to actually get debugging working well, what I recommend, let me open up my other project. Because the documentation of setting up Visual Studio Code to work well isn't that clear. I will say that much. Oh, do I have this running twice? Cancel. We don't want to run twice. And now, because we've run it twice, it's freaking out that the files have changed. And it crashed out. Please confirm. Yes, I would like to quit. I never run two projects. Two of the same project. Okay, so here in my okay, so in your project, you should have a .vs code, and that VS code should have a launch, a settings, and a tasks. Now this, I will put these because I think I used Jason's. Let me see if my GitHub has these down there. I feel like I would probably put them in there as GISTs. Let me see. If not, I will post them. Like I can post them on my Discord as well. But in the launch one is the main one that you'll need to adapt. So the launch configuration, you just got to give it your version of Godot. I'm using a double build, but that doesn't really matter. These, once you have these kind of set up with your project, the great thing is then is I can go to play, I can debug it. So I have a bunch of watch list here that I was actually playing around with. But let me just kind of show you what we can do here. If we were to do the asteroid scene that I was just testing before, I could actually launch the asteroid scene. It'll attach the debugger. One second. I gotta log into mute. Alright guys, I gotta run. I will be back in a bit. Before I go, no more public data. Right, but I want to give you there. Let me give you this. Let me just show you this real quick, and then I will. Then I'll run. Because once you have this thing actually running here in the editor itself, you can actually pause the execution at any point here. And if we have our stack traces set up correctly, we can actually step through every single bit of the process here, right? Debugging pretty much all of the values. So if you want to create like a watch, say we have our ship and we have like an area 3D and we're trying to figure out if the ship has finally entered gravity or not. You can actually set up all of your watch values and kind of step through, and it's great. I love debugging a lot more effectively in VS Code than I do, even in Godot's own editor, simply because it's a lot easier to see kind of where we are. But it's personal preference. But I like VS Code, I like VS Code with C Sharp. That's mostly because I came from Unity, and I still think C Sharp, just in my opinion, is easier than GDScript. But I mean, it depends on what you're familiar with. If you've done a lot of Python before, so GDScript is very Pythonic, built into the engine in the sense that you don't need to have .NET framework installed, which is still not too complex to install. Zero coding. Yeah, see, it's kind of up to you. Like, if you like programming and you want the options of having a programming language that you can extend, right? Then I do recommend C Sharp, because you can use it to build other things. You know what I mean? Like, you can build up an API, you can build a web background. GDScript is great, but only for Godot. So that's the limiting factor, and that's my recommendation. But I got to run. Something personal came up. I got to take care of, and then I'll be back. Hopefully, not too long. So I won't raid anyone. I'll just kind of end the stream here for a bit. Yeah. Oh yeah, and definitely jump on our Discord. And yep. And the old Patreon as a... oh, that is you. Okay, perfect. Awesome. I'm good to see you. I haven't had a chance. Like I said, we're only 3 days getting back into the project again after the move, so everything's been kind of chaotic. But yeah, we'll touch base.